What would you say if I told you that President Biden and President-elect Trump had shared a handshake in the Oval Office? Sounds like the start of a wild political drama, right? But no, this happened, and the scene was as surreal as it sounds. The Oval Office, known for its heavy symbolism and even heavier history, saw Joe Biden and Donald Trump sitting across from each other, their words polite, their body language guarded. Biden, the sitting president, extended his hand to the man he'd once called the former guy and a loser. And Trump? He accepted it with a nod and a thank you, almost as if the bitter campaigns and biting comments were part of some distant past. It was an exchange that felt bizarrely cordial given their history. Behind Biden sat the bust O.F. Robert Kennedy, a Democratic icon. Somewhere in that room was the quiet irony that Robert Kennedy Jr., a member of Biden's own party, had played a role in delivering the White House back to Trump. Talk about poetic twists. As the cameras flashed, Biden opened the conversation with a simple, "Donald, congratulations." For a man who had resisted even saying Trump's name during the last few years, this was a moment. Trump, ever the showman, responded with what could only be described as a carefully curated blend of gratitude and confidence. "Thank you very much, Joe," he said, adding a line about how politics is tough but manageable with the right approach. The pair sat on cream-colored armchairs, a roaring fire in the background. And no, the fire wasn't just for show. It roared like a metaphor for their complicated relationship, a relationship forged in political combat and grudging mutual acknowledgement. Two men, one stage. Let's talk about these two for a second. Joe Biden, the guy who built his campaign around restoring democracy and decency, sitting down with Donald Trump, the man he often painted as democracy's greatest threat. The juxtaposition was almost too perfect. For Biden, this meeting was about more than just shaking hands. It was about showing the world that America still believes in the peaceful transfer of power, even if recent history has tested that belief. But let's not forget how many people in Biden's corner, not long ago, were openly calling Trump a fascist and existential threat. The about-face wasn't subtle. And then there's Trump. Love him or hate him, the man knows how to command a room. He walked into the White House like a victorious warrior returning from battle. No Melania by his side this time. She's often kept her distance from the political circus. But instead, he brought Elon Musk. Yes, Musk, the tech giant who's been a lightning rod for controversy himself, and somehow the perfect companion for Trump's latest chapter. As they sat down, you could almost feel the weight of their past exchanges. Trump has called Biden everything from low IQ to crooked to the worst president in history. Biden, for his part, has never been shy about his disdain for Trump's policies or his personality. Yet here they were, managing to keep things civil. Maybe it was the gravity of the moment, or maybe it was just the cameras. Behind closed doors. When the door shut, leaving the two men alone for their 2-hour discussion, the world could only speculate. What do you think they talked about? Maybe Biden tried to steer the conversation toward legacy and leadership, appealing to Trump's ego in hopes of keeping some of his own policies intact. Or perhaps Trump, never one to shy away from a deal, laid out his plans to undo just about everything Biden had worked on. Could they have found a rare moment of unity? Maybe they bonded over the shared frustrations of dealing with Congress, or even joked about the younger generation of politicians who've been vying for the spotlight. It's anyone's guess. And let's not ignore the optics here. The last time these two shared a stage, it wasn't exactly a love fest. Their debates during the 2020 campaign were a spectacle of interruptions and insults. Now, though, the tone was different, muted, almost reflective. Washington reacts. While Biden and Trump were playing nice, Capitol Hill was buzzing. Trump's return to Washington was met with thunderous applause from House Republicans. Speaker Mike Johnson even went so far as to call him the comeback king. The loyalty Trump commands within his party is nothing short of remarkable. Congressman Troy Niels, for example, made headlines with his colorful analogy. If Donald Trump says, "Jump 3 feet high and scratch your head," we all jump 3 feet high and scratch our heads. Say what you will about Trump, but his influence is undeniable. Of course, not everyone in Washington was thrilled. The city itself, where the Trump once railed against filth and decay, has never been his biggest fan. During his presidency, he rarely ventured beyond the White House except to visit his own hotel. His relationship with DC has always been transactional, and the feelings are mutual. The transition. Nobody expected. Let's take a step back and think about what this moment means. Just a few years ago, Trump's critics were calling for him to be barred from public office. Nancy Pelosi famously joked that he might have to be fumigated out of the White House. Fast forward, and he's not only back but gearing up for a second term. Biden's decision to host Trump and facilitate a smooth transition was undoubtedly the right thing to do. It's what democracy demands. But it's also a striking reminder of how quickly things can change in politics. And for Trump, this meeting was a victory lap. His journey from losing the popular vote in 2020 to winning it in 2024 has been nothing short of extraordinary. Whether you see him as a comeback king or a cautionary tale, his story is one for the history books, a shared legacy. Here's the thing. For all their differences, Biden and Trump have more in common than they'd probably like to admit. Both are seasoned politicians with a knack for surviving scandals. Both have been underestimated time and again, only to prove their critics wrong. And both have shaped the American political landscape in ways that will be felt for generations. Their meeting in the Oval Office was more than just a photo op. It was a moment that captured the contradictions of American politics, the tension between tradition and transformation, rivalry and respect. Whether you're cheering for Trump, mourning Biden's departure, or somewhere in between, one thing is certain: this chapter in American history is far from over. So that's the wrap-up. Share your thoughts below, hit like, and spread the word. Don't forget to subscribe for more updates. You won't want to miss what's next.